On today's Muskie Daily, volunteers grabbed our hairnets for the East Muskingum Band's pie fundraiser.
New Concord gets into the Christmas spirit.
And so do the dogs in the village. Thanks for joining us on the Muskie Daily. I'm Chad Holmes.
And I'm Johnny Newhart. The village of New Concord brought in the Christmas season with its annual tree lighting and parade. On Monday, November 30th, New Concord held its annual Christmas parade. The event included a 5th grade children's choir, a tree lighting ceremony, and the parade itself. The children's choir performed prior to the lighting at 6 that evening, under the supervision of Janelle Phipps. The children sang along to Silent Night with the rest of the community.
So these students are all volunteer to give up one day of recess a week to practice.
The parade was hosted by the New Concord Board of Trade for the community to come out and enjoy. The lighting took place on Main Street, while ongoers carried candles to recognize the tragedy of a stillborn infant that happened in the community. Parade attendees were bundled up tight and warm in hope of catching some holiday candy. The participants of the parade included the New Concord Fire Department, people, dogs, and even horses. The parade ended with the jolly old elf himself, Santa. After the parade, Santa showed up on the village green to allow local children to sit on his lap and share their Christmas wishes. For Orbit Media News, I'm Johnny Newhart.
There was no shortage of apple pies in New Concord this year. Orbit Media's Aaron Eno has the dish on the annual East Muskingum School District Band fundraiser.
John Glenn High School Marching Band had its 33rd annual Dutch Apple Pie Bake fundraiser on November 21st. Everyone involved helped bake 3,011 handmade pies that were pre-sold to the public. The band raised about $3,000 in donations this year. Dutch Apple Pie Bake Chairman Tennille Sailing discusses the importance of the pie bake.
I think it is extremely important to have something like this because this shows the support that the community gives to our kids. It's not very easy to sell 3,000 pies.
Band members are required to participate for at least 4 hours in pie baking, while members of the community come in and volunteer to assist in the work. The money raised from the pie bake go towards John Glenn High School's music programs and helps fund new equipment, as well as repairing any current equipment that might be in need. Most of the materials used in the pie bake are donated by local businesses. For Orbit Media News, I'm Aaron Eno.
Coming up next on the Muskie Daily, is it the end of an era for one Ohio State tradition?
Plus, the Ohio State Highway Patrol is cracking down on impaired driving.
We have the music. We have the cameras. We have the talent. Orbit Media, where the magic happens.
On the story. On the quad. On the scene. This is the Muskie Daily.
A newspaper analysis of records has found that an ex-top aide to Ohio Lieutenant Governor Mary Taylor did political campaign-related work while on the state clock. Laura Johnson resigned as Taylor's chief of staff in June 2014 after time-shift irregularities surfaced. The resignation came ahead of Taylor and Governor John Kasich's re-election. The Columbus Dispatch reports Johnson made over 150 phone calls to top Kasich-Taylor campaign officials while on state time, and that her appointment calendar indicated she also participated in at least 19 campaign meetings and conference calls. Ohio law prohibits public employees from engaging in political activity while on the job. Johnson's attorney says his client denies wrongdoings. Kasich and Taylor's offices say both officials were unaware of Johnson's political work on state time.
Ohio State University's student government has voted in support of ending the Mirror Lake jump after a student broke his neck and died while participating in the campus tradition last week. The Student Government General Assembly voted 35-6 on Wednesday to approve a resolution backing the university administration's call to an end of the event. According to the Columbus Dispatch, student leaders say the vote now sets up student government to work with the administration to prevent students from continuing to jump into the campus lake on the week before the annual Ohio State-Michigan football game. 22-year-old Austin Lee Singletary, a third-year student from Dayton, died while participating in the Mirror Lake jump with thousands of other students in the early morning hours of November 25th.
The State Highway Patrol in Ohio will participate in a crackdown on impaired driving in a multi-state enforcement effort this week. State police from Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia also will take part in the project between Friday and Sunday. The patrol in Ohio says the effort to create high visibility enforcement on the highway is aimed at making the roadway safer. The latest effort is part of a multi-state partnership to coordinate law enforcement and security services in the areas of highway safety, criminal patrol, and intelligence sharing. Ohio's patrol says its troopers have made more than 22,000 OVI arrests in the state so far this year.
Move over Verizon. T-Mobile is now the nation's best wireless carrier. That's according to Consumer Reports' latest nationwide survey. The questionnaire is only in its 5th year, but is the first time Verizon was ranked #1 among the big 4 carriers. Consumer Reports were most satisfied with T-Mobile customer service and support and value, but the network's call and data quality fell below that of Verizon and AT&T.
Coming up, a look ahead at this weekend's weather forecast.
And Chris Morgan will get you up to date on all things Muskie sports.
This is Will Mullins, and I want to encourage you to watch Chapel on Orbit TV Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. Thanks.
Find out what decisions are being made at Student Senate that could affect your campus organization by tuning into Orbit TV on Tuesdays at 11 in the evening, and again on Wednesday through Sunday at 10 in the morning and 6 and 11 in the evening.
Good evening, New Concord. It's now time to check on how the weather is looking ahead into the weekend. Tonight we'll see a mostly clear sky with a low of 30. Tomorrow is looking to be sunny with a high of 46. And finally, tomorrow night has a low of 29 with mostly clear skies. Here's a look at the extended forecast with sports action coming up in just a moment.
We have the music. We have the cameras. We have the talent. Orbit Media, where the magic happens.
On the story. On the quad. On the scene. This is the Muskie Daily.
Muskie alum John Haycock's stint as interim head coach at Toledo was short-lived as the school named offensive coordinator Jason Candle as the new head coach yesterday. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Candle is a 2003 graduate of Mount Union where he played and coached under Larry Karras for the Purple Raiders. So it appears the Raiders have bested the Muskies on and off the field this year. Candle will assume head coaching responsibilities immediately and coach the team in their upcoming bowl game. Women's basketball couldn't complete their comeback bid trying to topple undefeated Marietta Wednesday night, falling to the Pioneers 62-53. Jasmine Goings and Mallory Taylor led the Muskie attack with 13 points and 6 rebounds each, but the Muskies couldn't overcome their poor team shooting on the night. The Muskies shot just 25% from the field in the loss. The men's team also fell on the road to Marietta 78-67. Jarrell Marsh led the Muskies with 16 points and 7 rebounds off the bench. Jalen Page also chipped in 12 points to aid the offense. The Muskies didn't have an answer for Luis Garcia on the night as he scorched the defense for 23 points in the game. The loss puts the Muskies at 3-4 on the year. Now both the men's and women's teams will be back in action on Saturday. The women go on the road to Tiffin to face off with the 3-2 Student Princes of Heidelberg, while the men will host Heidelberg at the Rec Center on Saturday. The Student Princes bring their 3-3 record to New Concord, looking for a win against the Muskies. WMCO will have the live call with pregame starting at 2:30. Up next, Santa makes friends with some of the furriest residents of New Concord. Stay tuned.
This is Will Mullins, and I want to encourage you to watch Chapel on Orbit TV Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. Thanks.
That could affect your campus organization by tuning into Orbit TV on Tuesdays at 11 in the evening, and again on Wednesday through Sunday at 10 in the morning and 6 and 11 in the evening.
The New Concord Bark Park Committee helped the community get into the holiday spirit of the season with a photo shoot. It was not a normal photo shoot, but it was one for dogs to show off their good sides with Santa.
On November 22nd, the New Concord Bark Park helped the community kick off the holiday season with a photo shoot. This was no normal photo shoot, though. It allowed man's best friend to get into the holiday spirit. Judy Beadham, program director of NCARD, shares where the Bark Park is in terms of preparation.
We're at the stage now where we need to start getting estimates on fencing, and then we take our information to the New Concord Village Council and get their approval.
Carson Klaus explains why he thinks the photos were a good idea.
I feel it's different from getting a picture with Santa when it's just yourself, and it's also a lot better for kids that are like older because they still get to come and see like what they used to do when they were kids.
For more details, dog lovers can head over to the Bark Parks page on Facebook in order to stay up to date on fun for your furry friend. The park also plans on hosting a hike later this winter. The event raised over $300 for the cause.
I'm Santa, and you're watching Orbit Television. Ho, ho, ho,
and I'm Johnny Newhart.
Around $300 were raised during the event. Donations collected went toward the development of the Bark Park. The committee also plans to host a hike for the dogs and humans later on the winter. For more information, dog lovers can check out the New Concord Bark Park's Facebook page.
The New Concord Fire Department is hosting 2 CPR and first aid classes for the general public. The classes will be held in the New Concord Fire Department Administrative Building. The classes will be Friday, December 11th at 6 in the evening, and again Saturday the 12th at 9 in the morning. The class is free, but those interested should call the number on the screen to register.
Those of you looking to get into the Christmas spirit this weekend will enjoy a free concert being held in Brown Chapel. The university's first Home for the Holidays concert will feature the Wind Ensemble, Concert Choir, Choral Society, and more. The concert takes place this Saturday evening at 7 in the Brown Chapel. That's all for the news. Thanks for joining us.
Be sure to tune in next week. Have a good night.